Okay, great.
And
First of all, thank you so much for joining us. It's great to see you again. We're all thrilled to have you here. So we have sent you some questions already, which I believe you have
I did.
received. So yeah,
I,
this is very relaxed. You can decide which question to answer first. There will be other questions, follow back, your answers. So, we can ask you other questions if that's okay with you.
sure. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So over to you if you want to. Yeah, you choose.
Um,
You choose
I
it.
had, yeah, I just right out of the gate, Sally Griffith asked a few questions. One of which was, how many miles do I travel in a year? And um, uh, at least on the highway. So here in the United States, I have been on the road since January 1 of 2018, just to see, I don't know, it was just what I wanted to do. And I've never been afraid to kind of jump out of the nest and see where the road leads me. So um, in 2019, and prior to the very end of 2018, I did 64,000 miles. So what I'm averaging right now, with this is a little bit of a different year, but I've still actually been able to travel with some downtime in South Carolina during the COVID kind of shutdown. I am averaging around 50,000 miles a year in my truck. So I usually go from the east to the west coast twice, up the east coast, and then across. So I just kind of, wherever the road and wherever the opportunity leads me, I just kind of let that play out. And that's what I actually enjoy the most. Is sometimes when I come to a stop sign or a fork in the road, especially in places like Utah and Colorado, where when you go one direction, you're going to be on that road for quite a while because it's not like you can backtrack easily. I never know where I'm going to go. So sometimes I go left, sometimes I go right. It helps when you're single. So I am strategically single on purpose, so that I can focus other things that I enjoy doing, and which has turned into kind of a life of pickleball and growing and sharing pickleball. So a lot of highway miles, and I look up places to play sometimes, or now I have a pretty big network, and people will know that I'm coming into a community, and then we set up play. I'll give my time, to kind of that community of rec players. And then of course we set up some private, higher caliber play, usually within that time too. So I try to do both. I do my best to play with everybody, but I do love competing at the 5-0 and 5-5 and above. So that I truly love. And Sally also asked me,
Before we
do I
go
still?
on to the next one though.
Yeah. Oh, any questions? Sure.
Yeah. So you said sometimes you go left, sometimes you go right. Do you have a destination in mind though?
Maybe sometimes. The answer actually is yes. So I'll put it into perspective like this. I'll be commentating. I'll be the main commentator at the Rocky Mountain Pickleball Championship in Denver on July 28th. So it's going to be one of the first bigger tournaments of the year. There'll be more, coming up, hopefully. Things don't get shut down again, but as things are projected, I have to be in Denver July 28th. I am in South Florida right now at the beginning of June. So I have a target site of where I have to be. In between that, I can mix it up right now with whatever I want to do. So if I want to shoot up the West Coast, the East Coast, and then go around the top, I have friends, in various places. That's where it gets kind of fun for me, and I can play around with that. So I will have a destination usually of some big tournaments that either I'm playing in, either I'm playing, because I still play on the, on the pro tour, senior tour. And I just mix it up around that. So our Tournament of Champions is in Brigham City. For those in the United States, you're aware of it. And those internationally, you might know of some of our bigger tournaments. The Tournament of Champions is one of those, a big money tournament. That is in Brigham City, later on in August. So I will have to be in Utah then. There's a tournament in Vail, Colorado. So, on the big dates, I have to be in a certain area in a couple of days before. Outside of that, I'll get there when I get there and play along the way and mix it up. So I do enjoy that aspect.
Do you stay with friends mainly, or do you sleep in your truck, or do you stay somewhere else?
There's been some.
Or do you miss your bed?
Times.
Do you miss your house?
No, I don't. No, I don't miss that.
No.
Yeah, no, I don't. It's nice to have stability sometimes. I mean, I've always been a little bit of a free spirit. And if I'm in one particular area, I tend to get a little stagnant. If I'm able to I've got to fly, right? So if I can fly and go, do, what my nature is, and then come back, that would be ideal. But, for now, I'm strategically single. Sold my house, had a month-long garage sale in November of 2017. And that was kind of funny because, people would come and I'd have stuff listed for sale. And I would have one thing listed for sale. And then when they come over to look at it, and I'm like, well, I'm getting rid of all of that. So if you want that, you can have that. So it's like almost everything went away except some boxes of valuables and, of course, memorabilia I have 2 kids, and that helps too. So my kids are 25 and 20. My son is 25, lives in Colorado Springs. He he married the brains of the operation there. So his wife, because he's a Florida boy too. We lived here 24 years. So he knew his life here in South Florida. And jumping around a little bit, I will answer all those questions, but his wife was valedictorian, blah, blah, blah. I mean, she got her undergrad in 3 years, got her master's degree in less than 4 years, got a job offer with a giant company called Compassion International. They are a adoption sponsorship Christian-based organization. So they sponsor kids, underprivileged kids from all over the world. And they're based out of Colorado Springs. So he went to Colorado Springs and he loves it. So now I have another place in Colorado to go. And my daughter is way more like me as far as her free spirit. So she's my little gypsy girl. She lives about 35 minutes north of me right now in Stuart, Florida. And she just kind of lives life every day and loves it on that side of things. So just where I stay has developed into a pretty good network. It didn't start off like that. Yes, I've had some pretty creative nights where I wanted to get to a destination that did not quite work out. And I have what's worked out now, I have if it's too cold or the weather conditions, then I will stay in my truck. But I do have like this tri-fold foam mattress if I need it. So I'm not opposed to sleeping in the corner of somebody's house or sleeping in the back of my truck or in the back seat of my truck. I can make space, but that is a rare occasion, but it does happen. But now I mean, like I tell people, and I didn't plan it that way, but just by having fun with people and meeting people across the country. I've been on the road now. We're coming up on 2.5 years. I've been on the road, and I've only had to stay in a hotel once, which actually a tournament paid for. Other than that, I stay in host families everywhere I go. So I do have a network base now, and people will say, hey, you can stay here. Or, are you coming to Indianapolis, or are you coming to New Jersey? So it's grown into something really fun. And then I always give back best that I can, either through my two contract sponsored companies, whether it's Selkirk or Jigsaw now, or it's just teaching. So I've learned from a lot of people. Like Sarah Ansberry in the beginning was gracious to me. So learning and giving back, it's kind of led into that. So I have a nice big network, and I usually try to help give back within that community the best that I can, for sure.
Hey, Randy.
Yes.
This is Ron. Could you quit talking for just a moment?
I'm sorry, we got a bad connection going on right now. And if anybody can't see Ron, just make sure you reach him on his email, which is hotmail@hotmail.com.
Okay. Listen, Randy, I'm here with Pat Murphy, who's the IFP, and also Robert Elliott, who's the director of international training and all. And so we're having margaritas. So we're not going to join the meeting, but we wanted to say hi.
Yeah, hi, Pat.
Hello,
Hi,
guys.
We'll listen in for
Hi, Pat.
Hello, everyone.
Pat.
Hello, everyone.
Hello, everyone. Well, I don't, wherever there he is right there. Hey, okay, I can see you now. Cheers.
We'll listen for
Ron?
We'll listen for a little while, but when the waiter comes by, we're checking out.
I understand it. And yeah, tell Rob, we had some good conversations with Steve Kennedy yesterday, talking about the training program. So look forward to helping out however I can, but know you're going to do good things. So good to see you guys.
We're excited about it. It's going to be cool. It's going to be great for England. So and Europe. So cool.
It's funny how Ron is in front there. Yeah, how about that?
Carry on. Randy, you're the one that taught me how to take selfies. So.
And you're the one that always wants me to sit on your lap when I take one. Don't know what that's all about. Yeah, I just go with it. I'm a pleaser. I'm a people pleaser.
All right. Hey, guys, have a good day.
Thanks. Bye, Ron. Bye, Pat.
Bye.
Bye.
So Randy, when you come to Maine, you're welcome to stay in my house, but you don't have to sit in my lap.
Thank you for that. That is such a big relief. You don't know how much pressure Ron puts on me. Oh my gosh. He's so needy, but thank you, Keith. Look forward to it. And unless somebody else has a question, Sally also mentioned coming to the UK and traveling around. So, hey, what do you, there's nothing like just get on the stay at hostels. And I don't know, you don't have hostels in the UK, do you?
Yeah.
Is that what they call them? Yeah.
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 Yeah. That's what I used to tell my daughter.
You can stay with us.
There you go. Sounds awesome.
Come to Bristol.
Yeah.
Bristol. Okay. Nope. Bristol.
You come to Bristol, Randy, and you'll be our guest.
Randy was going to be doing coaching in Mallorca last month with us for a pickleball holiday that Pickleball England was doing, and then you were going to be with us for the Bainbridge Cup next month, but sadly that got cancelled as well. So we were going to see quite a lot of you this summer, and now we're just going to be constrained to the video, I think. Video.
Well, hey, let's just shoot for next year in our sights. So everything happens for a reason, even though this is a tragic one, but nonetheless, we'll just keep positive and plan for the future. So, and unless somebody has another question.
I have a question, Randy.
Go ahead. Yes.
Are you retired, or how is it possible to live that kind of life?
Right. I know.
Good question.
Good one. Well, I put myself not really into retirement, but I'm really resourceful at just making things work. So I don't really worry about, well, how am I going to pay for this? Or I need to save up so that I can, I've always been, somebody that can just figure it out when I get there. And I'll make do until, you know, I figure it out, but I don't let those things kind of hinder me. And I've tried to teach, or I don't know, open up my kids' eyes to that in itself. My daughter, she used to want to, you know, travel, and, you know, I used to tell her, just when you're 18, I mean, you know, you can get a friend and safely, just don't think about how you're going to pay for it. I mean, we need to be a little bit smart, and I'm not saying be, you know, just reckless, but don't let, you know, certain things prevent you from making, you know, memories that are going to, you know, last a lifetime. So just plan it and go. Don't keep saying, you know, well, I still haven't saved enough money, or I'm thinking about, you know, everybody usually, if you really want to do it, you'll figure out how to do it. So
Yeah.
The way that I am doing it, like I said, I have been divorced since 2005, and I do that on purpose. It just allows for me to just kind of, you know, not worry about someone else's feelings and planning for this or that, but I can just kind of go out where I feel that I need to be directed to, or where I feel directed to be. Like I said, I sold my house, my Selkirk truck. I had that previously, which was then wrapped from Selkirk. So we worked that out, and it was paid for. So I have no bills. My house was paid for, or my house sold, don't have it anymore. Truck's paid for. So really all I have to worry about is, you know, groceries, insurance, you know, some of the necessities in life. It's not like I have a giant, I didn't win the lottery and I'm keeping secret, you know, that's how I, you know, fund everything I do, but I can make it work. So kind of like a cat is pretty resourceful. If you just put it outside, it's going to figure out how to survive. And that's kind of how I do it. So I don't really worry about, you know, how I'm going to pay for next month, or even when all this shut down, like, oh my gosh, like, you know, 3 months of nothing, no teaching, no, you know, well, you know, we can't worry about that. I'll figure it out when I get there. So, because I'm single, because my kids are grown, it's made that easier, made that transition easier. It was just natural. And I live very modestly, except I will spend $10 for one beer. So I'm not opposed to,
You're obviously very good at living in the now.
And I wouldn't be able to do it with people like, you know, that have already, you know, mentioned. So even where I'm staying right now, you know, I wouldn't be able to survive if, you know, I had to pay for housing. So, you know, for me to, you know, try to work out a schedule around hotels, it's honestly, it's not an option. So my option when I don't have a place, it happens. I'm fine. I can sleep in my truck and I'll figure it out the next day. And I mean, I've rolled into a place, had no idea where I was going to be that day, or even driving to it. And I'll be on the phone, and then somebody will say, hey, I know of somebody that might, you know, and here I am like sending an email, and I'm, you know, on the road. And next thing I know, 3 hours later, I'm meeting somebody that I've never met in my entire life, and I'm staying in their house. So where I am right now, I'm an ex-police officer. In South Florida, and I used to work with the family that owns the house where I'm at right now. So he has always opened up his house. Anytime you're in South Florida, you've got a place to stay. Don't worry about it. I mean, we worked together since 1995. He was one of the ones in some of my pictures as of lately. He's not necessarily a Facebooker, but he'll certainly go out and, you know, or I may be fairly good at coercing people to go out and enjoy having a beer with me, or just go out and do something. Let's go do something. So anyway, I'm staying at his house indefinitely now, probably for the next month until I get back on the road. So I'll I'll hop around South Florida. Maybe I can go up to Orlando. Now that I know Ron's there, I might go up and stalk him. We'll see. But anyway, so that
You should,
if I've
Randy,
answered all that.
I'm just thinking, Randy. I'm not sure if this exists already in the US, but you should create a website or an app that with all the places where people, they can host like pickleball travelers like you. If they have like a room available, they can be in that list. They can advertise their place and say, if you pass, if you're traveling to Miami, for example, this is all the places you can stay. So because you've seen so many places, I thought you could be a good sponsor for it.
There is a website that does that.
Yeah, there actually is. Normally, it's there is something like that exists. I like to help some people, especially when I know somebody's character, so when I know them personally as being I hashtag it a lot, being a good human. So, if I truly have a good friend and I need to help them out, I'll network them. But it did start becoming like a thing where people were like, I mean, they know what I'm doing and they're sending me texts constantly, like, hey, do you know anybody in this area or that area? And you don't want to, I don't want to be the person that is, obligating somebody else, now that they don't know. So that's a little bit of an awkward thing in an app format that people have actually signed up for. I think that's tremendous because there are a lot of, the foundation of our pickleball, the skill set of, 3-5 or below. That is our base, our large pie of pickleball players, and they are retired and they have the means to help. It does help being a pro. So when a pro goes through, that people like to host, people that can, hey, will you come play, with us? It's not just somebody that needs a place because they're going to a tournament. It's kind of it. There's a give back that comes with that, right? So when it's turned into somebody like way better than I could ever hope to be, like Ben Johns or something like that, they are networked, and people love helping out some of those highlighted players. But I do like that idea, and as she said, there is an app for that.
Oh, great. What's it called?
I don't remember. I looked it up a long time ago, and it was told to me.
I'll find it for you. It was.
Penny,
I got a business card.
did it.
Penny Smith runs it.
Penny F.
Who's sorry?
Penny Smith runs it.
Okay. I might need it for next year. I'm planning to come to the US.
Let me tell you something. You will have. Okay, you are absolutely an international celebrity, Roberto. So you don't have to worry. We will make sure you are taken care of.
Yeah, we will play you.
You are in good hands.
Oh wow! Thank you so much. That would help a lot. Thank you. Yeah. I it's my fourth. So I'll be 40 next year. So I'm planning to do a month in the US traveling, if we can travel. Though we don't know what's going to happen. But then that's the plan. I planned this a year ago, and saving now, and and deciding where I want to go, and so hopefully next year we'll make it happen. So yeah, I'll definitely be in touch.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah.
And then if it's at a convenient leg of your journey, then maybe you can be the co-pilot in the Voyager, and we can chat. And
yeah,
we'll turn on the live stream.
I just opened the beer.
We roll. Do what?
I'll open the beers for you, and I'll pass to you.
Roberto, in the truck? No, we can't. Come on now. I don't know how they do things.
I didn't say while you're driving. I said while you're driving.
I said in the Voyager. Oh, you meant after when we get there. I didn't say while you're driving. Well, I did kind of mention the truck, and so anyway, I know I'm kidding. They do things different in Europe. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Did anybody else have a question along those lines? I had.
Yeah, Randy.
Yes, go.
Randy, you said something about the tournament you have in Vail, Colorado.
Colorado, Denver, Colorado, at in Arvada, Apex pickleball facility.
When is
that is July 28th through August 1st.
Okay.
So we already have. It's not my tournament. It's the director is Don Siegel. It's a sanctioned tournament. It's on pickleballtournaments.com. 290 registered right now. There was Ron Ponder flushing the toilet again, I heard. I don't know. He probably snuck out. He's not even watching anymore. They're like, I know how he is. 290 registered. Even Simone just recently agreed to go. So Ben, Kyle, Tyson, Riley will be there. I think Corinne is coming now. Simone, you know, it's going to be a good group.
It's going to be a good one.
Yeah.
That's great.
So,
yeah.
You know, that'll be fun. In Denver. Denver's easy. Come on, Roberto.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Yeah. Thank you, Randy.
Yeah.
No,
yeah,
and actually,
not this year, but yeah.
Right. No. Is international travel available for anybody that's on with me right now?
Not
I
yet.
mean, I know we can't travel anywhere.
No, and they're talking about having 14 days quarantine when you come back.
Yeah, when you do.
So,
yeah.
So Roberto was talking about having a 40th birthday road trip. It's my 60th this year, and I was planning 6 weeks road trip in the US from Texas Open through to the Nationals, and then hopefully the World Pickleball Championships after that. But I'm not sure how much of that is going to be viable now.
The Texas Open's still scheduled.
Yeah. I know, but you know,
that's going to be a hot one.
Randy, are you playing next
go together
weekend?
next year, Karen.
Are you playing next weekend at Clear One? They're having a tournament.
Yeah, I know Henry. He's sending me texts. I love Henry to death. He's I mean, a lot of fun to be with and play. I was trying to find somebody that I, you know, would really have a good time playing with. And when you go into like tournament mode, like your gears instantly, you know, start thinking, okay, well, who do I really have fun success with? And it's not, I mean, we love to win, and I don't mind losing as long as we, you know, really had a good competition. So there's a few people I know that I might be able to reach out to, but I might give that spot up. There's a young kid that's playing down here in South Florida. Might see if he wants to go. And there's another friend, Taylor Oliver, that has a friend named Jared on the West Coast that Jared, Abby's husband. So he's wanting to play. So we're trying to work it out, but I'm not sure if I'll be at that tournament or not yet. And I might even just go and live stream. Now, are you a part of that place?
I go there
a lot
and play. Yeah.
I got you. Okay. Yeah.
It's just it's 15 minutes from my house. So.
Oh, nice. Do you play in Sanford also? Do you go
sometimes
play with that group?
Sometimes, yeah.
Leanne.
Yeah.
Leanne. She's a hugger.
Yeah.
A big time hugger.
Just joined us. There he is.
Who?
Manish from India. He was in
my. Oh. There we go. Manish. Where is he? Manish.
Hi, Randy. How are you doing?
Hey, superstar.
Good morning, Manish. Good morning.
All right.
Morning, Manish.
Hi. It's so nice to see you guys. Hey, Karen. Karen, how are you doing?
Good. How are you?
Oh, both the Karens are my great friends.
Cheers, Manish.
I can't see Randy. Oh, Randy is here. He's having his beer. Oh,
it's an imperial red. All right.
Oh my God.
Now that you've had breakfast, go crack a beer, Manish.
Absolutely. It's late. It's
Oh, it's
11:15
late.
p.m.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, you're way
That's
ahead.
the
My
best
bad.
time.
We are in the other part of the world.
And speaking of that, just because I love seeing new countries that are playing, and then I try to reach out to those places and email them and then give them as much information as I can. Sometimes it's a language barrier, but Turkey is now playing pickleball.
That's awesome.
Wow.
I still have one friend that I can communicate with on Messenger, and I asked her where, because she has to translate everything. And I asked her where it was in relation to Ankara and Istanbul, and it is like in the middle of the country, in the middle of nowhere. But they're playing. I mean, it's kind of cool to see. They've been putting posts on Instagram, and I just think it's fantastic. So.
Oh, that's fantastic. I mean, having Turkey with us is really amazing. Yeah.
Yeah, that is amazing. Yeah.
As well.
The
Tonga now.
Say it one more time.
In Tonga.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's more and more all the time, so it's great to see. But I had to mention that because I just found it not too long ago, a few days ago. I had someone asking me, actually from Jeff. Is this Pickleball Jeff? Is that you?
That's me.
I don't know. He asked, how do I plan my road trips? Is it lined with tournaments and coaching clinics and things like that? So I did kind of hit on that earlier. I have one main target, that I have to be in at a particular time. Everything else is just kind of all mixed in however I feel like. I do teach. I don't call it what most people know is just a normal clinic. It would be it would be a whole nother Zoom conference for me to talk about my opinions about how to help others and teaching pickleball, how to bring them good information. There's a lot of people doing a lot of good things. I agree with a lot of it, but it really takes time to develop a lot of the skills that these people are talking about. So when they go into a particular community, they're going to be there for 1 day or 3 days or maybe just 3 hours. How much can you really improve? How much information can you possibly retain from this, big clinic? But I still think that they're great, depending on who that instructor is. So I am an advocate for a lot of different qualified instructors. Me personally, I do not want to go into I'm PPR certified. So I give a lot of respect back to Sarah Ansberry for a reason. Because she, let's see, what was it, 2 years ago, more than 2 years ago, she kind of allowed me to come under her wing and be a part of, her tournament. I was staying in her and Lynn's motorhome at every major tournament. I'd sleep in the back. She spent a lot of time with me. She always included me in play. And then this new thing came up. She is a very fundamental player, and I kind of followed that path. And that is why I am with the PPR, because I have a belief in the fundamentals, of what the teaching is. Can we improve on our teaching organizations? Absolutely. There is, in my opinion, much to grow with the development of teaching organizations, and hopefully being able to speak with Rob Elliott about just giving my insight. But he is very good teacher, Rob Elliott, and he's going to be successful. He's great with people on the court. He's got a great mindset for teaching. But me personally, when I go out and if I was to advertise an 8-to-1 ratio of instructors and do a clinic, you're going to get, let's say, 8 people on a court, or if I get somebody helping, we're going to have 16 people, 2 instructors. You got 4 people on each court, and you're trying to just, split up your time, trying to demonstrate, trying to correct movements and all of this. And time just goes way too fast. And a lot of people just don't get it. So it turns into more of the experience of that session. So, I could talk forever about teaching, but it really is more a larger percentage of the pie, greater than 50%, in my opinion, way much more, about the experience of that person teaching the clinic than it is about actually getting information that you're going to be able to retain and then continue and develop. So what we always tell people, we being, instructors, and there's some great ones out there too, is just hopefully you can learn one thing in this weekend, one thing that's going to stick in your mind that maybe you can apply to the development of your game and to increase consistency in your game. Doing it on just a standard 8-to-1 ratio, I prefer to share people. I've turned mine into like a live on-court seminar. So I just call it the Book of Pickleball. And everything that I've learned in the since I've, been playing on a professional level since 2018, January 1. And then prior to that, when I was going out and taking instruction from people like Sarah, people like Morgan Evans, people like Steve Dawson, Lonnie Krantz, Aspen Kern was teaching, back then. I wanted to soak it all in. I retained it pretty quickly. Now I just like to share it all with as many people as I can. So I will be on the court. I don't have to follow a format because I'm not teaching a structured, organized clinic. But I will say, I'm going to spend 4 hours with your group, and it's not just a set time. Sometimes it's 2 hours, sometimes it's 5 hours. But I will be there during this time. They will promote me. Bring a lawn chair. Make sure you have plenty of water to drink. Make sure that your chairs are court friendly on the surface. So I just gather people around and I run through the foundation of pickleball from the kitchen all the way back to the baseline and forward. And then I talk about strategy. I answer questions. I do court critiquing play. So I get 3 people to join me on a court. Everybody watches. And then we talk about after each point, why that was successful, why that was not successful, and try to do it more interactive. So I do that, and I do it on a donation base. So I don't advertise a fee. I have my bag, and I say, you want to come and go, you do your open play over there. If you want to jump in and listen to something that I have to say, I'll answer any question. I'll play with you on the court. I'll tell you everything that I know. If you want to drop a quarter in that bag over there, I'll leave that up to you. So, you do it at your own discretion. Drop it in, and my time is your time. Now that's when I just go to, a community as I travel. And then, you have people that will say, do you teach privately? And if I have time, if I'm going to be there a few days, I do have an hourly rate. I haven't changed it in 2 years, and I'm not going to. But I will get on the court. But really, the only way that you're going to, apply that muscle memory to what you actually need to develop your game is time. You need continued repetitive time with an instructor. But I can give you a whole book. You want to take notes? You want to shoot a video? I'll break down your video. You can videotape me while we're on the court so that you can remember, what did he say? It doesn't matter, but I can at least give you the book. Now it's up to you to go home and study it and learn. And then if you have questions, you can reach out to me. But yeah, I do things a little bit different. And I get criticized a little bit for giving things away from free. for free. I won't mention their names, but yeah, I've been criticized for that. So, but that's okay. Does anybody have any questions on the line?
And
Those lines?
I had a question, Randy. Oh, actually,
Yeah,
a couple of questions I want to ask you. The first thing, the first question was, how is Sarah doing? Because she was one of the people I would like to have in this meeting in future, and
Right.
also, so when you coach, do you want people to come to you and tell you what they want to improve, learn, or do you say, I want to see you play, I want to see you how you do the serve, how you do the third shot, and then you work with them to improve?
When I step on the court, with a group, and I mean, I've had as little as 6 people on a court in a small community, and I've had as many as 40 to 50 people sitting around the court when I come in, just listening to what I have to say. I give a breakdown from the kitchen, from the setup, from our foundation, being on the line, on the kitchen line, where to contact balls, and I give certain demonstration and visual analogies of that. And I have someone that helps me, so hopefully there's somebody there in that community that can demonstrate with me, meaning I need you to be able to feed me some balls, and I want to be able to feed you balls, which is usually at least a 4.5, so that we can kind of work together. Doesn't always work. And then I do that demonstration process from the kitchen line all the way back and forward, and I talk about the movements of what I believe. And there's not one just set in stone. I mean, there's so many variables with teaching pickleball, but there are some crucial foundation points that people need to keep consistent with their game. So, you have to teach things within the parameters of their skill set. And then as their skill set improves, you can teach and open up new applications, for higher skilled players. So when somebody comes and says, that one shot that Ben hits, and, I want to learn how to do that. Okay, well, that's probably not going to happen. So what I teach people is I would like to, let's focus on the consistency within your own skill set. Let's get you more consistent with your shot selection and your arsenal that you have in your book. And then as you progress, we would worry about, improving those, or not worry about it, but we would focus on, enhancing those. But, I'm only there for a short time. So it's really just like a book's on tape, a book, a tape on the court. So it's like, just live demonstration that is interactive. I mean, and that's really kind of how I look at things. But I am a great promoter of certain people's teachings, whether it be Steve Dawson. I mean, I've only one time, but I've, seen Rob and Jody Elliott on the court. He is a great teacher, so you can't, deny that. There's other people all over the country that are, doing some really good things. Even Rob Davidson, who is, over 35, but he's still a top touring pro, and has a great foundation for teaching, as well as, Simone, hands down, historically the #1 player. She knows her stuff, and, would be something that everybody needs to experience. But I still look at it as, it's like going to Disney. When you go to Disney, there's going to be some really cool stuff, and it's going to be really expensive. So when you go into it, you already kind of accept that, hey, we're going to go and we're going to have fun. I'm sure we're going to, take away some great stuff from this, but it's going to be really expensive. And sometimes clinics are that. It has, and what I mean by that is that it needs to be, you need to understand that it's more about the experience than you becoming a better player on Monday. than when you started on Friday. I mean, does that kind of make sense to some people?
Yeah.
So you take away as much knowledge as you can get from that person, understanding that it just cost you, $400 to $600. Would I promote a clinic with Tyson McGuffin? Yep, absolutely. I mean, you're on the court for 3 days with Tyson McGuffin. If you can monetarily afford it, I think it's a great, it's a great experience. I would have done it. But just understand what you're going to take away from that. And it has nothing to do with the teaching ability. It's just too short a time to be able to develop muscle memory in 3 days of learning something. I mean, it's just impossible. Well, almost impossible. So that's kind of my take on it as I go around the country. So, and even one more thing. Yeah. I mean, I don't mean to, let me break just for a second, because somebody might have a question about some of the things. Anybody have a question about any of that? Or is everybody's asleep? Hold on, let me get a bell.
Yeah, we're here.
I'm kidding.
We're here. And I actually think that what you were saying about clinics actually is a very salient point. Don't think that it's going to be a panacea to improving your game. Go as much for the experience. People perhaps have too many expectations of things. Yeah, I think it's good. Very good point.
Yeah, even with friends, a lot of times when you have a friendship, you have a lot of expectations with that friendship, right? And this has nothing to do with learning pickleball, but it's human nature to kind of have a certain expectation, and we get let down a lot, right? So that's another reason I stay single. It's just easier. It's way easier.
Well, actually, another day I want to have a conversation with you about the fact that you're deliberately divorced.
Well, I didn't set out see you later, guys. Bye. I'm out of here. I mean, that happened, and then you just realize I am way better by myself than I am. So you realize that, I don't know, it was probably about 2012 or 13. I'm like, yeah, everything in life has a pro and a con. And people say, man, don't you get tired of living on the road? How do you not know it? And it's usually, and I'm not being stereotypical, but it's, or chauvinistic or anything, but women really are concerned about me. Lots of women friends are concerned, I need to hook you up with, I've got the perfect girl for you, and you're going to be in no, yeah. We can be friends. But yeah, they really want to help. How do you not know where you're going to go tomorrow? Where are you going to stay? And I'm like, I don't know yet. What do you mean you don't know yet? Well, I don't know. I haven't gotten there yet. But that's tomorrow. Where are you going to stay? I'm like, I don't know. I'll
Men are
figure
from
it out when I
Mars,
get
women
there.
are from Venus.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yep, we are. But, it's fun to go and meet on the planet in the middle every now and then. So, or a lot of the time. Manish knows a lot about me. He's being very quiet, but yeah, it was fun spending time with.
In India.
Yeah. Where did he go? He already left us.
He went to bed. He went to sleep probably.
He snuck out again.
He just wanted to
No
say
worries.
hello.
I know. I'm kidding. Yeah, and the whole crew.
Roberto or Karen, is this being recorded?
Yes, it is.
Yes.
Oh, I did. Yeah, I see recording. Yeah.
Okay. Well,
great.
Because Ron just texted that he hopes it's being recorded, so I want to make sure that somebody was doing it.
Hold on, let me send Ron a text. Why are you not texting me, Ron?
There you go.
See, I have way too many expectations on my friendship with Ron Ponder.
He doesn't believe you. He doesn't believe in your multitasking skills.
Oh yeah, well I've got a few things to show Ron. Yeah, we can. Here, I'll just make sure we get this going here. And Ron Ponder. Yes, Ron Ponder, we are recording the Zoom conference. You can relax now. He's gonna look. Wait a minute. How did? No, he's
he can multitask.
He is one funny guy. Yeah, unless I mean I have Karen. You have a list of questions. That unless does somebody have another question before I start expelling more words again?
That I sent.
Go on.
Yeah, everybody good?
All good.
Karen asked, who introduced me to pickleball? Where was it? And that I started playing. So how do I not turn this into Moby Dick version? So 2015, I was living in Gainesville, Florida. It's North Central Florida, University of Florida. And went to Texas to help my father. He's passed away now, but he had surgery and he was going through some complications. While I'm there, I have my network base of friends that we go and play stuff all the time. And one thing that we do is there's a sport called Kadima or smash ball. I don't know what some people call it internationally, but it's just a wooden paddle with a little ball, a little dead ball. It has no air in it. And you go play it. It was designed for the beach. So anywhere along the beach, you can buy these two wooden paddles and you just hit the ball back and forth. It's not nobody wins. You just keep the ball going. So I love to dive in the water, dive wherever. And it's a great fun game. Well, I'm in Texas and I kept thinking there has got to be a better paddle for this. I mean, these things are just like $7.99 for two paddles and a ball. So I stumbled on a paddle on my phone, and it said I typed in smash ball paddles or Kadima, and then pickleball paddles came up, and I'm like, what? I don't know what that is, but I'm looking at the paddles and I'm going, that will work. I guarantee you those paddles will work. So I've got two paddles with no intention but just to play Kadima or smash ball. That's all I wanted. So we did. We were just hitting the little dead ball with pickleball paddles, and they were perfect. They were fantastic. They better be. I spent $100 on each paddle, which was ridiculous. In 2015, they were Wilson paddles and awful, absolutely awful. What I know now to be awful. So anyway, we were just using that, went ahead and got some balls. Now I'm looking up how to play in Texas. And, little did I know, I lived 30 minutes from where they were playing pickleball in Florida. And I'd never heard of it in my life. So as soon as I came back, what do? Places to play pickleball. And I found a group in Daytona Beach Shores, which was a bigger group on the beach of Daytona. And I would drive an hour and a half one way just to go play. So I had family that I could go stay with. That's where it all started. So I had family in Daytona. I would leave on Friday, play with the group on Friday night, stay with my cousins in Daytona area, play all weekend, then drive back Sunday night. So I was playing pickleball all weekend. So that was the end of 2015. Started playing recreational in 2016, still in that same area. Then I moved. I wasn't having to work at the time. I was kind of fortunate with one previous job, and it allowed me not to have to work for a couple of years. And that's why I moved to Gainesville, where my son was going to school, and his really smart wife. Or now wife. And yeah, she is absolutely the brains of that operation. But anyway, most women are, yes, right? Yes. I get a thumbs up from all the ladies. Yep. Keep all our men in line, all their men in line. And so I was playing a lot of pickleball, and then I had to go back to work, and I took a good job in an awful place of Houston, Texas, not because of the people, but oh my gosh, it is muggy, hot. And I grew up in Texas in the north, and wow. But it was rough. And little pickleball, but they were playing indoors. I played my first tournament there in February of 2017. After playing pickleball now for a year, just on the weekends, and I rated myself a 4.5 for the tournament. So I played. I just self-rated. I wasn't. I had joined US APA, didn't have a rating or anything, and coincidentally, the person that was the tournament director that weekend, and now life has all come back full circle. Manish, if he was here, but he isn't. But Roger Workman, who is now our director of player and tournament operations, was the tournament director for that tournament. And I won that. I mean, I came from a tennis background from a junior. I had a ping pong table in my house growing up, a pool table, and a trampoline in the backyard. And then to veer off of that course, we would pull the trampoline over next to a shed, a big high roof shed that we had, and we'd pull it over next to the cyclone fence that had the barbs. Everybody here in the States know what I'm talking about. And the next door neighbor had a swimming pool. So we would jump off the roof onto the trampoline, over the fence, and into the neighbor's pool. So, I mean, it seemed the logical thing to do. But so I played that tournament, entered 3 divisions, and I won gold in those 3 divisions. And Roger came up to me when I got the last gold, and he said, "Well, good job. Just to let you know, you're not going to be a 4.5 very much longer." And I was like, well, I don't know what that means, but okay. So yeah, the US APA gave me a choice. They said you can either become a 5.0 now, or you can wait 3 months if you have some tournaments coming up. So I played 1 tournament, then instantly went to a 5.0 and signed with Selkirk. I played a tournament. My next big tournament was 2017 in Colorado. And that I played singles, and I played Scott Moore in gold at that tournament. He took it to me. Obviously, he figures it out. He's tremendous. But I did well in that tournament, and got gold with my mixed partner. And then nationals was my first one at 2017. Still the sport was, I mean, even then there really weren't that, there were some good people, but it's not like it is now. I got a silver in singles age in nationals 2017, and a bronze in men's age, senior age in that tournament. And that's when people are like, who's this guy? I was still starstruck. So I had Kyle Yates and Wes Gabrielson like behind me. I'm playing a match, and I turn around, and there's like Kyle Yates and Wes Gabrielson, and I'm like, oh, hey guys, hey, it's nice to meet you. You guys are great. And they're looking at me like, who's this weirdo? I'm in the middle of a match. So, and now, you find out what an amazing person Wes is. But so anyway, that was kind of the beginning of my pickleball.
And how did you started to how did you start using the Selkirk paddles and stick to them? Did you like them straight away? It took some time to understand that was the right paddle for you to use for the rest?
Coincidentally, I researched after I got rid of my horrible Wilson paddles, and I realized what pickleball was, and coming from tennis, I just start researching online, and I was looking at the websites, reading descriptions of what that paddle is used for, because that's kind of what we did in tennis. Reading all the the descriptions of the specifications of each racket. And I stumbled on a paddle from Selkirk. I mean, back then it was Selkirk, Engage, Paddle Tech, and Onyx. Pro Light was still on that, kind of main list. And I just stumbled on a page of Selkirk, and I read about the 200P. It was a polymer paddle. My very first order of a paddle was 8.4 ounces. And I currently play with an 8.5, 8.6 paddle, which I may actually go up a little bit with that. But I happened to play with the Selkirk paddle, and that's what I took into nationals. And then there were a couple of companies interested at that time, one of which, I had chatted with and was Selkirk. And then conversations went into December, and they made me an offer, and we ended up, working out a 1-year deal. And that's where I decided, like, well, it ain't, I can figure this out. I mean, I'll figure out how to supplement. All I have to do is pay for, groceries and gas.
Yeah.
And even to answer, if anybody's curious, I'm spending on average $500 a month on gas.
Wow.
So yeah, I have a diesel 3500 truck. I get about 15 miles to the gallon is my average, but it's a fair amount. So
I think Ron would argue that you should get a bike and cycle like he does.
Ron tells people he cycles. Yeah,
he cycles
out there
everywhere.
I want to see video proof of that.
He cycled from Rome to Montesilvano, which in one of the hottest summer we ever had in Italy. I think it was like 45 degrees, during that time, and he cycled 200 kilometers.
No, Roberto, he lied to you. He told me he got on a. He said the sun is too hot, the mountains too numerous, and the
somebody picked him up.
Something. So he got on a train. He started out. He was on the road for a day.
I know Ron Ponder. He made that video look real good. You don't see any of the middle. You don't see the beginning and the continued GoPro. You just see Ron Ponder at the beginning, and you see him at the finish line waving to everybody.
I remember now. He said, "Sun too hot, mountains too numerous, train too convenient." And then he got on the train.
Oh, yeah. This is cool. After like 2 years, I'm now I know more about this.
Those dang Americans, you can't trust anything they say. I tell you what.
It didn't look tight. It was during the tour, the Italian Open. So maybe.
Have you seen how big his belly is? Have you seen how big his belly is?
But he does bike a lot. He bikes
to
the airport. He biked from from Norman to Oklahoma City to get on the flight to go to Rome and to go to Germany.
Oh, wow.
And so forth.
Yeah. No, I am joking.
You wanted to address something to him earlier. Manish is back.
Oh, wonderful. In Tuomo. Hello. There's Manish. What's up, my friend? Are you asleep? What is he doing? Getting a massage? Why is he laying on a table? What's he doing?
Who, me?
Yeah, are you getting a massage? What are you doing right now?
Oh, yeah. It's 12 o'clock in India, night, and my daughter is next to me, so not getting a massage.
Did you have a question, Manish?
Yes, Randy.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry, I could not hear you.
Did you have a question for me?
No, Randy, no question. I know everything about you. I know everything about you.
Yes, you do. Yes, you do.
We spent enough time in Amsterdam together. 3 nights in Amsterdam, so that's more than enough.
Shh.
I think we might want to ask about that.
I know no speaking English. No speaking English. Let's just say I'm
in Amsterdam. Tell us
I'm
more.
ready to move. I'm ready to move to Amsterdam. Let's just say. Hey, I took some of my best. I did take some of my best photos on a photography level in Amsterdam, but yeah, that is quite an adventure there. And I
Absolutely. Great
probably did 20,000 steps a day there. That's for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't worry about it. I mean, if it, people, even when I'm with, Daniel Moore, and it's like we're in Japan, and it's like, man, I think that place is like, I don't know how many miles it is over there. And it's okay, let's go. I mean, just start walking. And I mean, it was kind of like that in Amsterdam. But just get out and go, and you will find some amazing things, unless you make those excuses and just say, well, I'm really tired today, or maybe I'll do it tomorrow. So that goes back to my other philosophy of life, when, don't come up with all the reasons why you can't do something. Just, find one reason why you can. So
that's right.
That's the cop in you talking, I think, Randy. That's the cop Randy talking.
That's not that's the Indian philosophy, Randy, talking. There's a saying. Manish will always, or a lot of times he'll say, there's a saying we have in India, Randy, and that's one of Randy's saying. And it's really not the cop talking; it's the go get off the couch and go see life.
Absolutely.
Yes,
Randy. Yeah. So Karen said, how long did it take you to get a high standard? So I think I answered that for you, Karen. Okay. Talking about the 4 or 5. And I did come from tennis as a junior. You said, she asked if I had a racket sports background. So I did, if it involved a ball and some form of instrument to use that ball, whether it was baseball, racquetball, tennis, table tennis. I'm sure that I found it. So my dad was I'm the youngest of 5 by 10. So I have a brother that I'm really close with. He's still 10 years older than me. And our father was a semi-pro baseball player. So I can remember as a kid, I'm looking out the window, waiting, knowing that dad is coming home at like 5:03 in the afternoon. And I'm sitting looking out because I've got both our gloves and, the baseball, or I've got the football. And you're like, okay, let's go. You ready? So, yeah. So I've always enjoyed having a ball in my hand and playing sports. And let's see, top favorite pro I'd like to watch. Karen asked. There, I have a lot of favorites. If you want to see exciting stuff, I like the pros that keep the point going. So it's not, it's the continuation of that rally, even at the big bang bang level. So players like that, instantly come up are going to be Riley Newman. Keeping that ball going. Ben Johns is, without question, one of the smoothest, or he is the smoothest player in the game. Nobody compare. I mean, there's, I do a lot of these little silly memes and satires and things like that, and I joke a lot about Ben and Batman, and we've never seen the two of them together. I'm just saying, there's something going on there. But I joke about it because it really is like, there's Ben, and then here's every other pro there is. He just seems to keep getting better. So he's a lot of fun. The waters are hands down exciting to watch. Simone, you want to watch, if you're going to have an exhibition and you want to hire the most exciting players, you're going to invite Simone, you're going to invite Lucy, you're going to invite the Waters, you're going to invite Lindsay Newman. There's more and more. If you want to see power, you're going to invite Jessie, Catherine Peranto. There's just so many elements that all of these players bring. It's really hard to have, a favorite. And on the men's side, regardless, if you're going to have an event and you want an exhibition, you are going to invite Kyle Yates. Things that he can do with the ball are, absurd, like in a very cool way. So, his arsenal is just crazy entertaining to watch for the crowds. So, you know, there's too many people, you know, to really list. And I don't really have a favorite. I have favorites. So people say, what's your favorite ice cream? What's your favorite pizza? It's a list. What's your favorite beer? That is, I mean, the list is huge. But I do have favorites. So Chunky Monkey ice cream, Ben and Jerry's.
Oh yeah, that's a good one.
Is one, but there's others. There's pistachio, there's chocolate, you know, but yeah. So anyway, so that's kind of my list of players. Someone I can hear maybe has a question.
Randy, one question for you. It's Manish here.
Yeah.
You've been commentating a lot on matches. You've been a commentator. So do you think anytime the scoring system will change from normal points to rally points to assist the TV viewers?
I think Manish said Randy points, not rally points.
Sorry,
no,
rally points.
No,
rally
no,
points.
I'm kidding. No, I'm kidding. I say that. I say that because I do have my own take of the scoring system, and regardless of what it should be or needs to be for television, what we have right now. Now I'm talking about for TV, and then there's a whole nother argument of, well, we don't need it on TV. It's pickleball. We need, this is, you know, but if you to get this sport with better exposure and to grow it, we do have to use a platform like television and media. And regardless of what it's changed to, in my opinion, what is current known for our scoring system, it doesn't work. So it doesn't work. It's not exciting for people to watch, and it's confusing for people to watch. And it's okay to teach people how to score, but if you want to capture a mass audience and not a select audience. So we have a very target market right now, right? So we have however many people, millions of people, you know, 3 million people, whatever, playing pickleball. We've got 30,000 plus on our Facebook forum. That is a very small market. I mean, comparative to the world, how do you sell that? How do you grow that? And when you put our sport on television, it gets cluttered with a bunch of other things like advertising. So when you have an hour spot on ESPN3, it gets cluttered by advertisement fill, and an hour turns into 7 minutes of explaining our sport, and then another 20 minutes of advertising fill, and then you're left with like 35 minutes of actual coverage. And then we now join game 3, currently in progress. I mean, it's awful. You try to watch our sport, and like I had on earlier, I had cornhole behind me on TV. Everywhere I go and I eat dinner, when I'm on the road, I'm always at a restaurant bar sitting, you know, with all the TVs in front of me. And cornhole, unfortunately, is more entertaining than pickleball on TV. And the time spot can be sold. So I can sell that airtime. This is how long each match is going to take. You know, it's not an unknown. You know, a pickleball match can last as little, a pickleball game can last as little as 11 minutes. It can last as long as 45 minutes, one game sometimes, you know.
True, very true.
So to answer your question, what we currently have is just not working. Rally scoring for our media, to grow the sport for a TV market, you know, it just doesn't work. Rally scoring, I even talk with a lot of the big pros, you know, like Tyson, and when you talk about singles, rally scoring works well, but even they don't like it. They would prefer to do the, you know, the traditional scoring. So when you play rally scoring in singles, who is it going to favor? It's going to favor the consistent player. Who's the most consistent player on tour? Ben Johns. He is the most consistent player on tour. Every single point out of the gate is going to favor Ben Johns because of his style of play. So it it doesn't allow you to go for some of those shots, but I do think it would allow juniors to learn how to go for those shots. But what we have just isn't working. I have my own ideas about what would work real well, but it comes. I have a tennis background, so it comes from my experience in tennis, and I look at what has already. I don't want to have to I just want to look at something that's already successful. So tennis has had 100+ years to get their system right with scoring and whatever. And what actually does work, and I don't ever see it being adopted in pickleball, but there is in tennis, some of you may know, is what's called no-ad scoring. So no-ad tennis scoring is it's the first to 4 points. So you play 4 points, and you win by 1. There's no if it's 3-all, the next point wins. Now that would be per game. Mm-hmm. And in tennis, what do we do, or how do they play? They play sets, right? So in tennis, they play 2 out of 3 sets, 3 out of 5 sets. And there's a known time for about how long that match is going to last. I mean, if I went to a television network and I said, listen, we've got a sport, we play 2 out of 3 sets. This is approximately how long each match is going to take. It's exciting to watch and everything, and be like, okay, well, now I can sell that time slot. But right now, pickleball, pickleball is just an unknown as far as time. So, I'm not saying that it's just an idea. I've played it. I've played no-ad scoring pickleball, and it's actually a lot of fun. Who's going to play it? Tennis players are going to play it. They're going to be open to it. Pickleballers are like, I don't know. So the way that would work is you win the toss and you start serving. The team that won the toss and they're going to serve. That same server is going to serve out the first game, right? Mm-hmm. So he's going to serve the whole game. You're going to switch sides every single time. You would still do the switch, and then you would switch sides on every odd. So in tennis, to make things fair, right? And we do it in pickleball, but we do it after the one game. But in tennis, you're playing the first to 6, win by 2, and you would switch every game. So one server would, I don't know if that makes sense to my explanation, but one person would serve out that game, and then you switch sides, and then the other team serve. You know what I mean? So you're continuously switching. We've got to come up with something, in my opinion, to just make it more exciting for television.
Definitely.
Yeah. I mean, badminton did it. They had to change. Table tennis had to change. Volleyball went to rally scoring. That rally. Pardon?
Squash went to point of rally.
Yeah.
They had to change if they wanted to get into the Olympics.
Yeah. And that's what our ultimate goal is, That was another question from Karen. What's the, ultimate goal? How she phrased it. What is your dream for pickleball in the future? Well, you just said it. So that would be, to have it as first an exhibition sport in the Olympics, and then to actually be, put into the list of country sports, and we have 25 members of our IFP now, 25 member countries, and we have 50 to go. Is everybody, I know Manish and others are, everybody aware of how many countries and what it takes to actually even be considered for the presentation of being an exhibition sport in the Olympics?
It's 75.
Yeah, 75.
Correct. And in men's, 4 different continents. So 75 countries have to be actively playing. And in men's, there has to be 4 different continents. And in women, there have to be 40 countries and 3 continents.
Oh, wow.
So, and then you can present your presentation to the IOC and then go from there. But Yeah, I don't know what might happen, but I do know that you know what we're doing just isn't working. So when I go and I play, and like I'll be playing later today, and even with all other 5-0s, 0-0-2, great rally, great rally, great rally. Server doesn't get the point, and it goes side out. 0-0-1, great rally, great rally, great rally. We don't get the point, second server. So it could be 0-0-2, side out, 0-0-1, 0-0-2, side out, 0-0-1, 0-0, and I will stop and I will say, and this is the reason our scoring system doesn't work for TV, because everybody's just sitting there, and the people that are there are excited, right? They're getting to see some great points, but it's like, you know, is this ever gonna, I mean, does anybody ever score? You know, like, what are they doing? But
Andy, it's Dave Wood here. Just to comment on that, I come from a beach volleyball and volleyball world, and when the scoring went to rally score point, that was a whole new game which really elevated volleyball and beach volleyball. I love pickleball scoring, but I think it's the only way to go. I think it's the only way to go from a mass spectator sport looking at the scoring system, because every rally creates a point for exactly the reasons that you said.
So you are an advocate for rally scoring?
Yeah, I think I think it has to go that way for the absolute reasons why, you know, that you've mentioned. Right. I mean, I love the traditional way. Don't get me wrong, I absolutely love it. But I think the only way to go is rally point system.
So the talk about rally scoring is that, well, number one, it would be really confusing to figure out. There's two ways to play rally scoring in pickleball. As far as do you switch servers when it's side out, or do you switch servers when, you know what I mean? Like, so in table tennis, when the server, when it goes to the other team to serve, you know, you switch sides and then that person serves. So there's things to work out. Yeah. Oh my gosh, can you imagine how confusing it's going to be? Well, I mean, it's confusing enough for our referees. I mean, oh my, it would just be. But I'm with you. I'm with you.
Beach volleyball have sorted it out, so I think it's the way to go, exactly as they go.
Yeah, yeah. So you need to. That's why I say you need to mimic successful things that are already taking place. Yeah. So
they've never looked back since they made that change a few years ago.
Right. And what would it take? It would take somebody to actually start running tournaments and offering money with that implemented scoring system.
How did it go with Indian Wales when they did the rally points system?
No, they did it for the World Pickleball Championship.
No, they only did
it.
Yeah.
Okay.
And they only did that for singles.
Yeah. How did that go?
Yeah. Well, so that's what I was saying earlier. In singles, or that's what I was about to say. In singles, people, who's it going to favor? It's always going to favor the consistent player. Yeah. So when you get ahead, it's almost impossible to catch up. So when you start going for your shots and you miss, the match is over before you even know it. So you get 4 points ahead, you're pretty much done. Like, I mean, you have to learn how to be more consistent player, but what it does, So I did an example. I mean, since we're kind of talking about it, I did an example on the court yesterday. We shot a South Florida TV show, and I was talking with the pro there. It's a tennis facility, so he's a tennis pro, but now they're teaching pickleball. And I used an example of the serve and the service return in our current game versus rally scoring. So not everybody knows how I play pickleball or how I teach pickleball, but there's Ron Ponder again, dropping stuff. Ron, get out of the bathroom. But I'm joking. But it's Ron getting off his bicycle. But what I have in a very aggressive serve and a service return. So don't even want to, I'm probably about to, but even just to highlight, even when I teach a deep penetrating serve. So right out of the gate, it's not ball in play. I don't teach that game at all. I'm here to win, and I'm here to take control of the point. And the way you do that is with that ball that's in your hand right now with your serve. So you need to learn how to be a more controlling player right out of the gate, and that would be with your serve. Well, now let's take my mindset. I can get very confident with my serve. When I start feeling it, you start hitting more and more. In a match, I'm going to get 3 or 4 points just on my serve. I mean, they're not returned. I mean, they're returned, but they're hit into the net. So I'm using my averages and my statistics by those free points. I have a very confident mindset at 0-0-2 when I always choose to receive serve if I win the toss, even though if I miss my serve, it's going to be side out, it's still 0. I mean, in my head right now, I'm thinking, all right, I'm good. I'm going to go for it. If I'm playing rally, think about what that does in your brain instantly. If I miss this serve, it's a point. So it's a whole different mindset. Even playing the game, like you start to be tentative. You're not hitting the shots with purpose. You're like placing the ball because you're afraid. You know what I mean? You just start. So it would take a whole different mindset of athlete to learn how to play like that.
It will change your game. It will change your game.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah.
But the game will then catch up.
Yeah.
But yeah. So
can I make a comment? Can I
Yes.
make a comment? This is Debbie Brown. Just as it relates to that scoring where the game gets drastically reduced in time. People that get on airplanes and fly, I'm speaking from a squash perspective now. I play a bunch of different sports, but just from squash, when they turned to par scoring, point and rally scoring, like people don't want to get on an airplane and do 20 minutes and done in a game. And then a second game, it might be 13 minutes. So there's that to consider.
Well, your games would be, you would play more games, right? So if you're going to go rally scoring, you're not going to be playing 2 out of 3. You might be playing 3 out of 5.
Or maybe the points might increase to 21.
Yes. Yeah. So normally you're either going to change it to 15 or 21. And then you adjust how many games are going to be in that match. But yeah, it is going to change the dynamics of the game. I do think we need a point every time something happens. I mean, to just have things go on and on. I mean, think about what happens in a basketball game when you have a team that's going back and forth down the court, missing shot after shot after shot. When you've got a game that is, 40 to 50 points at the pro level in basketball, that was an absolutely awfully boring game. I'm sort of, I'm kind of giving just a different, perspective of analogy. Baseball is a purist sport. It's not there for, the excitement of how many, runs that team scored. But when
Soccer's the same. Yeah,
soccer. It's soccer. Yeah, yeah. Now I'm not. Roberto, don't get mad at me, but I didn't grow up playing soccer, and I love the running. I love the aspects of soccer. I think the scoring is just horrendous.
Right,
so
they need to make the goal bigger.
No, what you do is you get rid of the offsides. It's not going to happen, but that would be the same analogy, right? If you want the soccer match to be, 15 to 13, you get rid of the offsides, and you'll figure out. That would be an exciting match. I used to use that analogy with basketball. It would be like making offsides in basketball. Oh, LeBron, offsides for
But then it's more strategic with the offside. It's more strategic. I think I'm not a big fan of soccer, but I think it makes the sport more strategic. More you know.
Right. Yeah.
Curious the same way.
From an audience perspective, yes, okay, it might be boring, it might be, you know, annoying, but you know, from the sports perspective, the team perspective, I think it's the strategy that, you know, makes it more interesting, you know.
It is. I mean, with life, there's a pro and a con. So there's always going to be, you know, a reason that you do this or a reason that you do that. And it's just, you know, what are you really, you know, trying to achieve? And you know, I love the game. I love how it was created. I have tremendous respect. I know the people that are absolutely not a fan of changing anything, even at the, you know, the pro level, without mentioning their names. But you know, it's all I know is what we're doing is just not what we have. It's just, you know, it's just not going to work. So we need to, you know, go ahead. Pardon?
I want to ask you, Randy, do you know who decides when the rule changes? You know, what's the process of changing the rules?
Well, it's not. It would be not. It would be eventually what would be adopted by you know, someone like the USAPA, but they don't restrict how tournaments are played. So, you know, like I said, once you get a system in place that is successful, then regardless of what the players think, the players are going to adjust, and we'll have new players coming in that are going to be fine with it. You know, I mean, that's just my perspective, and I'm not saying that it's right or wrong. I'm just saying there's a different way to look at it. So, who is an extremely winning coach, whether you like him or not? And I'm not a fan of him, but I'm a New England Patriot fan, and Bill Belichick is one of the most winning coaches ever. And you know, the reason that I'm bringing that up is he's gonna, if you don't want to go and do your job, he'll find somebody else to do the job for it. I mean, that needs to be done, right? So when you have people that you know, want more, or you know, aren't going to kind of follow the path, he's got a winning formula. And if you don't want to follow that formula, there's 3 other people behind you that he can put in your spot. And the reason I bring that up is not to play hardball by any means, but when you have if we created a tournament, and if the pros didn't like it, and they'll go, well, I don't like that tournament. Well, you know, you're going to get $2,000 for first prize if you play our tournament. Well, okay, I'll play it. And if you don't want to play it, there'll be plenty of other pros coming up that'll be like, I'm fine with it. I'm going to learn how to do this. You know, does that kind of make sense? So, you know, if you can't.
I'm just thinking. It's good that, you know, we have freedom, you know, to do whatever scoring you want to choose. But then I'm thinking, in the long term, you know, if we want to bring the sport to the Olympics, we need to have a consistent scoring system. We get there. We have that mindset. We know what the scoring system is, and we have that mindset to adapt, you know, to that scoring system.
Totally agree.
Otherwise, it can be messy.
Well, so we have to test the market. You've got to do that beta testing, so to speak, right? You've got to find.
Randy, in India, we play almost 10 tournaments in a year with rally scoring because we have less courts and more players. So to save time, we do with rally scoring, and we just love it. And we have a lot of spectators for that. So it might change after a long time.
Yeah. So it would be great to have, you know, Manish, you know, put online, you know, how they're doing things, you know, show a match, you know, show how their scoring, you know, works, get other people on board. So, you know, and then even new things with the IFP, you know, these are things that I think are important to even talk about, you know, not to mention.
Randy, can I quick? So would you see, you mentioned the USAPA, but do you see the IFP maybe that will be an obvious changing the rules on the IFP side and then following, or?
Well, these things haven't been discussed, but that's what I think, you know, is in store, is to have discussions, you know, at a directorship and committee level, and see if we can get people on board to support what we want to do and get certain pros maybe to, just, so to speak, be an advocate or, endorse what we're trying to do.
Doesn't it really start with the tournament directors though, Randy?
Yeah. And like I said, the tournament directors, you don't have to, you can just make a decision. This is how our tournament's going to be played. This is the ball we're going to play with.
Yeah.
This is how the scoring system is going to take place.
Yeah.
And this is our tournament. Would you like to play in it?
Yeah.
And that absolutely. So that's why I was saying earlier, if we just start hosting tournaments with a particular implemented scoring system, ball, whatever it is, then you get more and more people to play it and do it. And then we have a better chance, I think, you know what I mean, on showing how successful it is.
Mm-hmm.
So we need to show that what we're doing has been successful, not just come up with an idea and say, this is what we need to do. And then you haven't done the testing and the legwork to say, well, that didn't work very well. So I think we need to put in, that's why I said we have to find somebody that can actually do tournaments and get some of these big names to actually participate in a particular style of scoring, and then get them doing it and show that it's been successful. So I think so we need to have discussions, and then we need to find some people that can actually, have a belief and support what we're trying to do, and have a successful tournament. Because as soon as you have an unsuccessful tournament, word travels very fast.
Manish, before you go, sorry, I know Manish, you're just about to go, but if you're still there, can you just say what level of tournament play do you have that is the rally scoring? Is it all levels?
Yeah, unfortunately in India we don't have any levels. We play only the open level because there are not many different players. So whatever tournaments we've been playing, most of the national tournaments are the normal scoring. But these private tournaments, especially you say a one-day tournament or something, we have it in rally scoring, but with open skills. There's no skill levels mentioned out there.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, and have a good night.
Thank you so much, Randy. I'll see you later.
Hey, cheers, brother. Love you.
It's
Bye, Manish.
It's actually coming up for 2 hours now, actually. So
I know. Yeah, I was just letting my group know it's not a problem. I mean, I have a passion for talking about this. I'm happy to do anything in the future. If there's ever warranted time and you want to have another discussion, I think this on a group level, has a lot of good merit. I've probably talked way more than I should have.
Randy, I thank you so much. I have got a couple of questions, if that's okay. Quick couple of questions. First one, you mentioned Scott Moore and about you wanting to beat him. I don't know, the bit that I've read, I don't know if you've played him and beaten him yet. And so that's the first question. If you haven't, what have you got to do to beat him? The second one is, so International Federation of Pickleball or World Pickleball Federation or both?
Well,
sorry, easy one to start off with, a harder one to
the first part of that is easy.
Yeah.
And I do my best to kind of address things as politically correct as possible, because ultimately what we want to do is build bridges in pickleball, and not put up roadblocks and not tear them down with different people that are involved, at a high level with pickleball. So we want to keep the same target site. Some of us have different ideas as to how to get there, and I have mine. So I'm passionate about some things that I believe in, and I believe in them for a reason, not just because. But to answer your first part, to beat Scott Moore, I was very close, and Scott Moore, even though we split games and then he beat me in the third, he's very good at figuring you out. But the ultimate thing that is the most important in singles pickleball, which I still love, But then I also love things like this. It's called Diver Down. It's an Imperial Red Ale. Just to give you a little highlight, this is 8% alcohol. Just kidding. I joke about beer. No, but I try to keep the fun in pickleball, but I do compete at a high level. However, singles is a lifestyle. So singles is a commitment to a lifestyle of conditioning, training, and play. In doubles, I'm extremely fast. I'm going to run everything down, but I'm afforded to catch up. I can catch back up in between the points, and I can kind of regroup. But I am still, if you lob over me and I chase that ball down at the fence, I will get that ball back. And when I put it over and you drop it into the kitchen, I will get to the kitchen and get that ball back. But to do that in singles over and over, that takes conditioning and cardio. So why is Scott Moore, and his days are numbered, and he knows that. He's older. There's new people like Paul Olin coming in. There's other seniors. Scott Moore just got beat by a guy I'm going to be playing with here shortly called Mircea. He's tremendous at singles. He's learning doubles, but his conditioning is ridiculous. And that's why Scott Moore wins, because he can go an entire weekend of doubles play. And then when singles happens, he can go all day long playing singles. And while I'm over, almost passed out on the court, you look over and Scott Moore is over jumping rope and doing his B3. It's so but you can't keep up with him because he lasts. So, Sarah Ansberry would always teach, you need to learn how to not have so many dynamic movements so that you can finish the race. So Scott Moore is just very good at finishing the race. It's like that person that goes out, in a 5K and they just blast out of the blocks. And meanwhile, this other guy, he just kind of just keeps on going, and then he passes you at the finish line. So to play singles at a high level, at a pro level, and even others, your conditioning has to be like no other. And that turns into a lifestyle of certain types of eating so that your body can keep up. He trains in high elevation climate, which is great, in Colorado Springs. And he's very good at what he does. But now he's starting to get beat by other people that can do the same thing. Me personally, I love singles. I really do. Pickleball is harder on your body at the high level. It's harder on the joints of your body, especially in singles, than tennis could ever be. The movements on your knees and everything else, tennis is a continuation side sport. So you can play and run through shots, keep on going. In pickleball, you have to plant, stop, push, go, stop, push, go. That's why we see such a spike in injuries, because of so many things at a high level that pickleball is demanding on the body. So hopefully that answered your question as far as the IFP or the WPF. I promote all those who have good intentions, not self-motivating intentions with pickleball to grow the sport. I promote internationally. I am a part of the IFP on purpose. Even one of the discussions with Daniel Moore, we wanted to find a way to bring international training at an affordable level to all of those internationally, and a lot of people in Asia. So I don't typically want to do things where it's all money driven. I would rather help grow the sport and have the give back come at a later time. So I am extremely, obviously, since I'm a part of I'm the assistant director under Roger Workman now for player competition and tournaments. And I'm there for a reason, because I believe in the mission of growing and teaching internationally. My passion is international. I love playing and promoting here in the States. it's for somebody else to go and train and do all those things here in the States. I'm single. If you give me a call and say, hey, can you come and spend a month in the UK or Thailand, please. Anybody from Thailand? I want to go to Thailand. Yeah. No, I'm kidding. I'm not kidding, but I just want to, I just want to promote this, and I love teaching in Asia. So I have friends in Taiwan. I can't wait to go there, and not necessarily to do it for monetary reasons. So people that know that I've visited countries, China, it's not my fault. I didn't bring it. Hong Kong twice. Super people in Hong Kong. Been to Japan with Daniel. Was supposed to go to Singapore and see Janet, but the typhoon took that out. And then, can't wait to get to Taiwan. And I don't want to go there because I want to teach a clinic and charge them X number of dollars to become certified and join a membership. I want to go there because I want to teach them pickleball. So hopefully, to answer your question, it really just, I just want to grow the sport, and whatever your cause is, whatever association you're a part of, just, ask yourself, are you doing it for the sport? Are you doing it for monetary reasons? For, self-motivating monetary reasons, for the sport, and not to get into that, too much anymore, but.
Thank you, Randy. Thank you so much.
Absolutely.
Thanks for that explanation perspective. I was already a USAPA ambassador, but this last week, Ron actually approved my IFP ambassador for Canada since I'm on the border. So I'm looking forward to continue to help grow the sport here and in Canada, and then I hope to someday join you as well.
Awesome. Are you in the western part of Canada, or where are you?
I'm in the border of Maine and New Brunswick, so I'm in down East Maine.
Okay, I'm going to ask again, west or east, because I'm
sorry.
I didn't study in school. I forgot.
Eastern provinces.
Oh, you're eastern. Oh, wow.
He's right next to. He's in Maine, but he's
wow.
very close to Canada.
Nova Scotia. Wow.
I'm 5 hours from Nova Scotia, and
wow. Oh, fantastic! Well, congratulations. And then a whole other thing that I. Pardon me. Say it again.
Oh, and I was going to say to you, to you both, to you, Randy and Keith, we need to go to Costa Rica, because Keith is from there. Is it Costa Rica or Puerto Rico?
I'm from Puerto Rico. So
Puerto Rico. I can do that too.
Puerto Rico. Oh, wow, okay.
My ex-mother-in-law is Puerto Rican.
Oh, so
Keith?
that's why you're divorced. Just kidding.
I have never experienced a louder Christmas in all my life than my very first Christmas with my half Puerto Rican, half Italian wife back then. Wow.
Oh
my gosh.
I miss Christmas in Puerto Rico, man. Don't make me homesick.
Does it have to be so loud? Does it really have to be?
Always.
And I kept looking for the turkey. Like, when are they going to bring out the turkey? No, we don't have turkey. What?
We got pork.
We had lasagna, sausage, and no, I think that's all we had, lasagna and sausage. But I do love rice and beans now. I love plantain.
I don't think I've ever eaten turkey.
Tostones. I love tostones.
Come to Maine. I'll make the rice and beans with tostones and all that for you.
Yeah.
Pickleball.
Fantastic.
Oh, wow.
Randy, this is Debbie Brown. I'm an American living in Ireland, and I was also just recently nominated to be accepted to be an ambassador to your organization. So Ireland has opened doors to you as well.
Oh, thank you so much. Do you know, holy mackerel, now I'm so old. She goes to Ireland enormous.
Jenny Butler.
Jenny Butler, yeah.
Oh,
she's just retiring. Yeah, she's just retiring as a pilot.
She would fly over here, go to sleep for a couple of hours, take the train over to us to play pickleball on about a half an hour train ride away. She's a crazy woman.
She is crazy, insane.
She's a crazy
and she loves
woman.
to dance. She loves to dance. Oh my gosh. Yeah, she's a fun woman.
That's not a problem, is it?
Not at all. We have so much fun. I stay at her house in just north of Charlotte. Yeah, it's absolutely gorgeous. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Her husband has.
Well, you're more than welcome here.
Thank you, Debbie. That sounds fun. And I'll leave it on, there's some new things that I would like to develop also within, maybe I can use the IFP as the platform. So one thing that I'm a little bit passionate about is creating a meritable, maybe accredited committee to approve some of our teachers that are out across the U.S. and then maybe internationally. Meaning everybody and their dog right now is calling themselves a pickleball instructor because they're jumping on that monetary bandwagon, right? Some people, are just absolutely not qualified, in my opinion, to teach. Have no business teaching on any level outside of just going to the Y and showing people pickleball, which I think would be great. But I do think that we need a system that holds instructors accountable and then give them that stamp seal of approval from a, the only comparison I can give you right now is like the Better Business Bureau. So when you have a business and it has that, in America, we have an organization, you haven't gone into bankruptcy, you haven't done certain things, and you can apply to an organization, hopefully it has merit, so that when somebody comes to your business, they can see your seal, right? And they can go, wow, this has been approved by, the BBB. So we need the BBB, the Better Business Bureau, in my opinion, of pickleball instructors, so that when people look online, who do I take from? We could have a database. Maybe it's built into the IFP, just a consideration, and listed by state and city and whatnot. You could have an entire list of people who have been given an accredited, stamp of approval for their instruction and continued improvement for instruction. So it's not like you just get one certification and then 6 months later you're teaching the most ridiculous things I've ever seen in my life. I've seen it with, within all organizations. They call themselves, we have two teaching organizations, the IPTPA and the PPR. And I've seen people that have been certified by both, and I see them teaching the weirdest things I've ever seen in my life, that are doing people absolutely no good. And I'm not discounting those agencies, but who's, what I mean? Like how do they know? If you get a certification and then 6 months later, you're just teaching whatever you want to teach, how would that organization even know what you're doing? Right?
It has to be done. It has to be done. It's the pathway to being an Olympic sport. I mean, you can't just show up to the Olympics without something, without a sport being completely organized like what you're talking about.
Yeah. So I would love to create a database and a stamp of approval, so to speak. So if our 12-member committee has approved you, we give you, a letter. You can put it on. We can give you that vector art. You can put it on your business card, whatever it is. And you've been, if that makes sense, at least we're giving accountability and credit and merit to the teaching organization, which is an absolute disaster right now. And then I don't know if he's still here. Jan, are you still here? Jan Papi?
I don't believe he is.
Did he leave? He got bored. I lost him. Jan has started a ranking system. He's doing something, internationally with a global ranking. I also have a desire. It doesn't matter who's doing it, as long as we're getting there to the same purpose. You know what I mean? But we need established rankings within our pros, and then we can, make our rating system a little bit easier. USAPA is trying to do a good job with their 4-digit, ranking system. It's really confusing. And the algorithm works. But you need a rating system so that communities can develop their pickleball and organize play and keep structure. But we do need an adopted system for our pros. Most importantly, right now, I believe, to come up with a ranking. So I've been talking with some of the pros. We have some ideas on how to adopt a formula to come up with that number, And then we want to make sure that this is open to the public. Everybody knows how we came up with this number. You know what I mean? And it's not just kept secret, but it's an actual working formula. So where did this formula come from? It's going to come from tennis. And tennis is successful. They have a current ranking system. It really wouldn't be that difficult to do within pickleball. And then we actually could see a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and it all is going to adjust throughout the year, based on points and how you fell within that tournament. And that's just another hole that we have in pickleball right now that is just, who do you think is number one? Well, after you go past Ben, it's all perspective, well, I think Tyson is, number 2. I think Kyle's number 2. Well, I think Matt Wright's number 2, so we don't have a current system. And that's just another one that I would like to put some attention to, just so that you're aware, to go along with some sort of accreditation for instructors.
Are they using an algorithm from like chess or something?
No, it's just tennis. You mean?
What is it? No, I remember.
USAPA.
Yeah.
Can't answer that. That's above my pay grade. Yeah.
Well, someone told me they're using their ranking system is the same one that they use from some sport that has nothing to do with two people on the court.
Yeah, I gotcha. Yeah, I've never even asked, where that actually came from. No.
As an ambassador, they explained it to us in one of our ambassador retreats, but it was so
cool.
far beyond me. Anything
that's what I'm.
Gets into math.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's just so complicated.
It should be tennis. It's a nearly same thing as tennis.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Well, there's things to address, so hopefully they can be. And cool. If I haven't bored you already, I know we're coming up on some long time, and I'm probably going to have some people. What time?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I'm way late.
Yeah, I think we should wrap this up. We've been on for 2 hours and 15 minutes, Randy.
Yeah.
We all need bio breaks, and at least. But thank you so much for coming on today, being so generous with your time, and being so candid as well.
Yeah. Well, hopefully. Yeah.
Really great to meet you.
Hey, pleasure to meet you all.
Great. Really good. Thank you so much.
Yeah,
thank you.
Great to see you, Randy.
I enjoyed it, Randy.
And if you don't mind me asking, thank you. If you don't mind me asking, for those that are on Facebook, if you'll just send me a private message so that I can, kind of keep a running memory and folder of, our group here that we had. And if not, if you don't mind sending me an email just so that I know you were a part of what we discussed today, that would be fantastic. So.
What's your email address? Because I'm not on Facebook.
It is pickleballvoyager@gmail.
Oh, okay, that's easy.
Yep.
You couldn't find a better name for it.
I know. When I put enter on that one and it said available, I was like, oh yeah.
Say that at gmail.com.
At gmail.com. Yeah, I actually have a trademark now for my. I applied to the USPTO, and I have an actual trademark number now for my Pickleball Voyager emblem and art and everything else. So that's me.
Hey, very cool.
Oh, cool.
Very nice.
Really cool.
Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Have fun. Good game.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Cheers, my friends.
See you soon, Randy.
Everybody.
Bye.
Yeah.
Take care, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
Play, laugh, repeat.
Thanks. Thank you.
Bye-bye.